we feature real health coaches and health practitioners getting real health results for their clients and for themselves. We have an incredible topic today that I just love, and we are going to be talking about why paying for labs is cheaper for your health. So I cannot wait to talk about this with everybody. If you are joining us, I want you to drop the word test below this video, and we are going to send you an amazing resource today. It's called the Brain Body Diagram video, and it's really a new way at looking at disease for you and your clients. It's absolutely a tool that you do not want to miss out on if you're a health coach or a professional practitioner. Absolutely drop the word test below so that we can send that to you. My name is Piper Gibson. I am the Director of Course Enrollment for Functional Diagnostic Nutrition and your host for the Real Results Show. Today, I have Allison Jordan joining me, and we're talking paying for labs is cheaper for your health. Allison, how are you today?
I'm doing so well. Thanks for having me on today, Piper. I think this will be super fun.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting into this topic. I would love to know, where are you joining us from today? Where are you located?
I am in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's close to Detroit, center of University of Michigan, healthcare, and all those things like that.
Is it cold right now?
It's raining today, but it was snowing the other days. And so, yeah, if you know the hand thing for Michigan, we're like right over in the thumb. It's right in November. We flip-flop, rain, snow, sleet, ice.
I'm in New Mexico, and we flip-flop from, I went outside this morning and can see my breath, and it's probably like 80 degrees outside right now. So yeah.
Wow.
Winter in the desert.
Yes, big difference.
Yeah, big difference. So I would love to just start out and have you tell me what inspired you to become an FDN?
There were a couple factors. So one of them would be personal health history, where starting around 2015, I went from a pretty healthy person who ran marathons and ate healthy, like I cooked most of my meals, ate lots of vegetables, ate healthy portions, to somebody who was very sick, put myself on the low FODMAP diet, lost my period, was in constant pain, my joints ached, my belly ached, I was super constipated. All my doctors were like, maybe you should stop being stressed, or maybe you're not drinking enough water. Just like very unimpressive advice. Got a colonoscopy, got an endoscopy. Classic, like, okay, you don't have some very intense diagnosable blah, blah, blah. And so I got like a very bland IBS thing, and I was living with tons and tons of symptoms. I fast forward, ended up discovering craniosacral therapy and visceral manipulation, which is one of the things that we do in our office, and found that it was incredibly helpful to my health. As I got certified in those and started to do those for people's gut health, I realized that while manual therapy to help the nervous system and the fascia and ligaments around organs was so incredibly helpful for people, there was also this intangible other. And I was aware that there was other things going on in the body, but I didn't have the training in it. So I was looking for a functional medicine program for probably a year before I found AFDNP. I was listening to a podcast and listened to it, and I remember everything Reed said was like, oh my gosh, this man knows my brain, he knows my mind, he talks like me, where basically I knew I wanted to be able to run labs and not just like, oh, eat this nice thing, it's a generally healthy thing. I wanted to run labs. I knew I needed data. I didn't want to just randomly go and do stuff, because that was my life journey of just randomly trying something healthy, not feeling better, and listened to his podcast, and literally we went into COVID like 2 days later. So I had no job. My manual therapy, I couldn't do anything. And I immediately went to my husband and said, hey, I want to get this training. Do you support it? And I finished it in like 40 days.
Wow. I love that story. That is fantastic. And so much of what you're saying resonates with me, because I got into this to help my son, but it was like, let's try this healthy thing. Let's try that healthy thing. What's the next healthy thing we can try? And, someone told me, hey, I'm working with a couple FDNs. You should check it out. And same thing, like 24 hours later, I was like, I'm doing this. Sign me up. So
yes,
I love it. I love it. So we know that it took you about 40 days to get through the course. So how how are you building your practice as an FDN?
The first thing that I started with were my clients that I normally was seeing for hands-on therapy. There was probably like 10 to 12 that I knew we had hit a plateau, and how much healthier they could get by reducing restrictions in their anatomy and physiology. And I said, I bet there's something going on with your hormone balance, with your gut, with your mucosal barrier. I bet there's something going on. Let's do some tests. A handful of those people who I'd reached out to, and again, we're still mid-COVID. My clinic is totally closed, and they want to still get healthier. They loved that the test kits were mailed to them. They did not want to go to a hospital or any place near where humans went, let alone, sick people. And so we did those lab tests, got results, and I started with, clients who I already had a fairly strong idea they're going to get better with this work. Finished with them. On top of that, I'm a part of a business mastermind, really worked with talking with other people, getting on other people's podcasts has been one of the biggest things. And a lot of the women in my mastermind, it's a multi-industry mastermind. And so many people are like, you're the only health expert I know on the gut. They love the work that I do. They would refer me to their friends, and I'd get on podcasts and just talk about stuff people don't talk about, and then have people jump on sessions with me just to see if the fit is right, see if we can really help them. And that's been another big way that I've been getting clients. And then lastly, I started my own podcast just because I was finding it was so helpful for somebody to get to know me and say, what does she know? What does she not know? What's her personality like? Is she quirky and weird? The answer is yes. But yeah, that's been the big thing.
Yeah, I love that. I'm also quirky and weird, and I totally get that because I don't want people to be like, she's just some lady on the internet. Like, how do they get to know you? So I love it. And we're going to talk about how people can find your podcast in just a little bit. So and our topic is about testing, but how has using lab testing and the FDN approach help you to solve your clients' health issues?
It gives me real information. I knew I never, ever, ever wanted to do anything without lab testing. I was kicking myself for a long time that I wasn't an MD or a DO or somebody who could order lab tests. And I was just like, that just wasn't on my radar when I went to college. When you're 18, like, how can you know if you want to be able to run lab tests when you're 34 or whatever your age is? And so it's just, the data it's just everything. I would never run anything. So now I know, oh, you're tired because your melatonin's low, or you're tired because you have a parasite, or you can run a thyroid panel once you have figured out how to learn about that and be like, is it a thyroid related thing? There's so many reasons someone might be fatigued that's not thyroid, and yet mostly doctors only look at thyroid. You could be nutrient deficient. If you have leaky gut, you're not getting the energy that you need because you're not breaking things down. You could have a microbiome imbalance. Also not going to help you with getting the nutrients you need. So always, the labs are everything. Their data, it's testing, not guessing. It's like the perfect way to say it. Specifically, I have clients, for example, one of my favorite stories is this woman. She's a businesswoman. She owns a 6-figure business. Very smart woman, very accomplished. Is like, I want to get my health on board because I need the time back in my life. I can't be always taking naps or always feeling crappy, having these crazy sugar cravings. I'm losing my mind. And I told her when we got on our first call, I said, I bet based off of all your other symptoms and the pattern I'm seeing, your sugar cravings are related to a microbiome imbalance, not due to willpower. And she's like, okay. Her first lab we got back was her food sensitivity test, the Oxford Biomedical MRT 170. And she had 3 foods on there that she ate every day: spinach, broccoli, and strawberries. Mind blowing, because those are generally healthy foods. And she could have gone on a numerous number of diets and maybe gotten rid of those or maybe not gotten rid of those. But she pulled them out of her diet. She ate them for breakfast every morning, pulled them out of her diet. 3 days later, no sugar cravings. She was like, Allison, I always got my sugar cravings right after breakfast. It'd be like 10 a.m. And it was like, boom, like I want like gummy bears, Starburst. Like she's like, crappy sugar. Why would I want this? And I was like, because your microbiome's like going freaking out because you're sending inflammatory foods down there. All the opportunistic things are like, party.
Exactly.
And she just got rid of it. And she's like, Allison, you're a lifesaver. And so she has a totally different view on herself. She doesn't see herself as willpower lacking, or which is so huge for us, especially as women. But I mean, as anybody who's trying to improve ourselves, we're like, oh, is it just my willpower? Do I not really want to get better? What is going on? Do I need counseling to get over sugar cravings? And I'm like, sometimes it's just your microbiome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. And, that's so mind blowing for so many people when you can put it all together and they're like, how come nobody ever told me this before? Nobody looks at it like an FDN looks at it. It's just a completely different way of thinking. So if you guys are watching, I know we've got a lot of people watching, make sure to drop the word test below, and we are going to send you our amazing resource for today, the brain body diagram video. So drop the word test below this video. And we're going to keep talking about testing. So one of our topics today is, why is paying for lab tests cheaper for your health? So I would love for you to elaborate on this one.
Ultimately, it's two things. One's time, and the other one's insurance. So the first one is, I mean, my story, you heard me say, started in 2015. Oh my gosh. And I found out I had a parasite in 2020. I had blastocystis hominis, and it was literally from 2015 to 2020. And I think I got it in 2015 in a trip to India. It's a pretty common story for getting blasto, is when you're traveling. And so when you consider 5 years of having to switch jobs, not being able to function in the evening, losing all my energy in the afternoon, being in tons of pain, coping mechanisms, brewing my own kombucha, switching probiotics a million times, the doctor's appointments, the doctor fees, all these different things. It just costs so much all the time, every time, in my time. I believe it slowed my career down. It slowed my ability to get married down. I am married now, but I mean, I was just so sick. I was like, I do not want to get married right now. I'm not in a good position. And who knew how long that was going to last? Not that you can't get married if you are chronically ill, but that was a goal of mine. And so that it was just, that's priceless. And my doctors wouldn't run the labs I'm interested in. The doctors who my clients work with, they'll say, well, what if I can get these labs covered by insurance and get my doctor to refer them? Most doctors, I have yet to get a doctor who will order them through insurance. And I usually tell the clients they can't, as in they just don't have, it's not an option for that certain lab to get covered by insurance. They won't, as in they just don't think it's relevant, or they don't know how, and they just don't have time to go do it because they get paid for 10 minutes of sitting in a meeting with them. So it's really hard to do with doctors. And secondly, just the money factor. First off, all the things that I paid for, the kombucha, the probiotics, the random things that are going to help me, that I'm trying to do it in the most cost-effective way, but literally never made me healthier. The lemon ginger tea was a cover-up, and it helped, but it didn't kill my blastocystis hominis, and it definitely didn't tell me I had blastocystis hominis. And then with insurance, what happens is that you end up paying a lot of co-pays over time. And I personally am someone who much prefers that I strongly suggest HSAs and FSAs because of how our insurance system was built up over time. There's a lot of complications to that, but basically insurance does not favor chronic illness. It favors acute problems that are solved with surgery and pharmaceuticals. Herbs you can't make money off of, and so natural supplements you can almost never get. The FDA, you can't patent an herb, so you're always going to be paying money for this. And some of the best ways to pay for stuff is FSAs and HSAs, and that actually lowers how much you pay monthly. For insurance, usually has a lower fee monthly. And otherwise, if you have an all-out insurance plan that covers everything that is surgery and pharmaceuticals, great. But if that's not what you need, you're gonna. It's a lot of money out of pocket, just to pay your insurance monthly premiums. I
love that we're having this conversation because same here. well over $10,000, probably more, on all the copays, all the doctor visits, all the different healthy things that we tried from the time my son was 6 until he was about 12. We tried tons of different things. And then once we applied this functional lab testing and we changed our thoughts and started using that FDN approach, it's been mind-blowing. And now we go to the doctor once a year, and honestly, the doctor we see is cash pay because he doesn't want to deal with insurance either. But I agree, like in the long run, doing the testing is going to save you so much money.
And you get better results. Insurance, even if you work with someone who doesn't, even if it's a functional medicine practitioner of some sort, like whatever it is, integrative MD, like their insurance predetermines what they're willing to pay that person and what they're willing to cover. They pre-tell them, they pre-negotiate pricing. And then what they won't cover. And so usually those people are bound by it, that they can't even give you what you need. Oh, it drives people crazy.
I know, and not to mention that they're bound by the time constraints. Like they can spend 7 minutes if they give their client one diagnosis, but any more than that, it's not going to be covered. So if you spend more time, you need 2 diagnoses or 3 or whatever's being worked out. So yeah, I agree. I think doing the functional approach, working with an FDN in the long run is so much better for your health. So I would love to dig into how do you work? Are you part-time, full-time, in person? I guess now you're completely virtual. But I would love to know a little bit more about how you're working with your clients.
So my full business, I'm not sure exactly. I'll answer the big picture. My full business, I am full-time as a practitioner, the owner and founder of Better Belly Therapies, which is our business. We work with people. Our clinic is open right now in Ann Arbor. It's been open since June, keeping with COVID protocols. So things are very safe and clean and no one's gotten sick. So I do see people in person still and do manual therapy. I do that 2 days a week. And then 2 other days a week, I will do virtual coaching, which is like FDN, running lab tests, creating analysis. So that's how I split up my time. Of course, there's all 1 day a week plus other hours is admin, all the other stuff. But I am full time. And then I also have an employee.
Awesome. How do people and listeners watching get in touch with you? How do they find you? Website, social media?
So they can find it. They can find us at betterbellytherapies.com. We have more information on our website there. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook if you just search at Better Belly Therapies. That is our handle for both locations. And then we have a podcast, the Better Belly Podcast, where we share all the information on like differences between food sensitivities and food allergies and why the low FODMAP diet isn't healing your gut and why probiotics aren't healing your gut. Just some like really classic stuff. It's gonna be really good information that you can apply or seek further and better understand, where to be putting your time and effort. And then if for anybody who's listening, who's like, oh, this is so interesting, really want somebody to talk about my gut with, I also have had constipation or other things like that, they can set up a free consultation call for 30 minutes. Go onto the website, betterbellytherapies.com/chat. Just set up that call, and I would love to talk and see if we would be a good fit for each other.
Awesome. So Alyssa said she loves HSAs and FSAs. She's found out firsthand that it's much better to pay for actual care received rather than the higher premiums. Absolutely, Alyssa, I totally agree with you on that. If anybody new is watching, drop the word test below this video. We are going to send you that brain body diagram video. And I want to know, Allison, do you have a number 1 tip, tool, or resource, something that you've learned from FDN that made all the difference in your personal health in order to help you get real results, or your client's health?
The first thing that comes to mind is get lab tests done. I hope that's not super redundant, because the thing is I'm going to be totally honest. When it was suggested to me to get a stool test done to see if I have a parasite or a bacterial overgrowth, I totally put it off. I totally was like, no, that's dumb, for multiple reasons. First off, I was really proud of how healthy I've gotten. I'm like, I literally have created a business around improving your gut. And I'm like, and I'm doing pretty good. But then I couldn't ignore the fact that I still had little symptoms here and there, whether it was some abdominal pain or acid reflux or different things that I knew as a practitioner shouldn't be there. Common for people, not normal. I don't know if you guys have heard that before. And so I still had some health goals, and I wanted to be able to do that. I'll be really real. I still wasn't having a regular period. And I knew my hormones were messed up by something. And so I was like, fine, I'm just going to take a stool test. And I found out I had a parasite. I was blown away. I had been literally doing my whole life coping around this parasite, everything from my sleep schedule to how often I have to eat food. As soon as I killed that, I wasn't having crazy like hangriness if I wasn't eating, or basically abdominal spasms if I didn't eat either, which I'm sure wasn't helping that I had a parasite munching away at my small intestines and or at least burrowing into it. And then of course, when it gets hungry, it tells me and I feel it. And all these things went away as soon as I dealt with that. My period came back full on, like very healthy, very regular. It was incredible how immediate it was as soon as I finished the protocol, and now I'm pregnant. So,
yay! Congratulations, girl! You've been on a quick, fast journey since you finished FDN.
I felt like it was too slow. Again, I told you I delayed. I think I delayed doing the test for 2 months or something after I was already doing it on other people. I was like, I'll do it. And that's just, it's a world of change. People look at me every time like, do I need to do the test? I'm like, do you want to get better?
Well, that is fabulous news. Congratulations. That is so awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Do you have a piece of advice you'd like to share with other health coaches or professionals who might be watching?
Ooh, that's a good thought. My first thing that comes to mind is like when there's my big question often is like, how do you get more clients? How do you get more clients? Like a couple of things, put yourself out there, like try to find people who have podcasts, find wherever your ideal client is, like figure out who they trust, who they listen to. I really love working with moms who are career women and business women, like business owners potentially, and they listen to a lot of stuff. They're like doing laundry and they're listening to a podcast, but then different populations might be watching YouTube and just showing up. It's so big, just getting and then also being confident, something that's helpful. Maybe every morning journal to yourself, like if you're struggling with confidence, like what do I know? How did I help myself? Like what do I know now that other people probably don't know? Because that's another thing. The more I learn, I sometimes find that I'm like, oh, everyone knows this now because I've known it for 5 minutes. So now I feel like everyone knows it. No, I'm serious. It's so weird. Like something that I learned this year and would have been fascinating to me a year ago, I now feel no confidence about. And so it's just not helpful. And write down what you know. Make declarations like, I am a wonderful healthcare practitioner or health coach, or I help people get better, and declare those things because it really trains your subconscious mind. And it's really important when you're building a business and building a practice.
Yeah, I agree 100% that makes a huge difference. And mindset means so much, especially when you're working with other people. So one last thing I would like to know is, do you have a piece of advice for people that might be watching who are struggling with their own health?
Find someone to help you. Like you might, if you're listening to this, you're probably searching. Hey, that's huge. You're listening, you're seeking out, you're teasing things apart. Definitely keep searching, find something that resonates with you and jump. You're going to need to jump. Like I had to jump in ordering the lab test. I had to jump in getting craniosacral therapy and visceral manipulation. And think about, the other thing is if you're struggling with cost, for example, I want you to think about how much money you've spent on a couch or an oven or a house. You can replace a couch, you can replace an oven, you can even replace a house. You can never replace your body. If you don't take care of something in your body and it continues to dilapidate over time, you can't just sell it and be like, I'm buying a new one, which you can do with a house or a car. Your body is yours. It's a treasure, and it's there to produce for you, produce life, produce joy, produce wealth, produce relationship and connection. And so don't be afraid of investing in your body and in your health. It will so much pour back into you. And so find somebody you can do this with, whether you want to just start with a friend and then move up to somebody who's a professional, or just jump in straight to a professional. Like it's going to be so huge and so helpful.
Awesome. So Patty, I am going to encourage you to connect with Allison. I'm going to have her share again how you can find her, but I would encourage you to connect with her if you are interested in digging more into blasto and gut health. Yeah, Donna, totally. A lot of people don't know what leaky gut is. I explained to a lot of people about leaky gut. So absolutely. Allison, one more time, tell everybody how they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. Our handle is @BetterBellyTherapies, singular belly, plural therapies. And you can go to our website, betterbellytherapies.com. Look more at our stuff there. I have a free complimentary consultation call that's 30 minutes to see if we're a good fit for each other and see what the ways that we could work together. You can set that up at betterbellytherapies.com/chat. And then also check us out on the Better Belly podcast.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today for the Real Results Show. Make sure to drop the word test below. We're going to send you that brain body diagram video. If you have any questions, you're watching the replay, make sure to drop those and we will absolutely answer those. And Allison, thank you for joining me today. I feel like it was an awesome conversation and I really enjoyed connecting with you. Oh, did we freeze? So thank you, everybody. Oh, there we go. You froze for a second.
Oh, yeah, I know. I missed. Thanks for having me, Piper. I think that's what you were saying.
That is totally what I was saying. So thank you. I enjoyed connecting with you today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We will be back next week with Health Coach Tip Tuesday on Tuesday and Real Results on Wednesday. Bye.